Thank you to the Office in Arts and Culture and the artists who participate in this design.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's virtual budget hearing. Tonight is the 11th of our 14 community budget hearings, and it is my pleasure to welcome you, as well as welcome Councilwoman Laura Pastor, as well as all the staff, including Budget and Research Director Amber Williamson, who are here to host you this evening. So just by way of a little bit of background, we do have 14 community budget hearings. Tonight, as I mentioned, is our 11th to introduce our 21-22 trial budget. This year, we do have a surplus of about $153 million, and that is made up of a combination of one-time as well as ongoing money. And so the trial budget that we've presented, that the city manager has presented, lays out how we would allocate and spend those funds next fiscal year. And the purpose of these hearings is to get your feedback on what you like and don't like about the trial budget. That feedback is then communicated to our mayor and council on a weekly basis in the Gen Info packet. And from that point, the council then takes that into consideration as they make their decision on how to proceed with the budget coming up in May and then June for legal adoption. But before we begin this evening's hearing, I would like to pass it to Councilwoman Pastor, who may want to make a few opening remarks about this evening or the budget itself.
So good evening, and thank you for joining me at this trial budget. I am hoping and excited to hear of all the items or wants and needs that we would like to see in our budget, and really appreciate that you're participating in this process, because participation is key from our community. So thank you.
So before we begin the actual formal part of the presentation, I do want to introduce our interpreter, Mario Barajas. Mario?
Yes, Jeff, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mario Barajas, and together with my colleague Elsie Duarte, we will be serving as a Spanish interpreters for today's virtual budget audience. We will be asking as a favor, if you will be providing the public comment, please try to speak slowly and clearly, so that way we can try to interpret what you are saying as fully as possible. Thank you. Now, to avoid any confusion, I will review the telephone sign-on instructions for English speakers, and subsequently I will review the same pertinent information for Spanish speakers. Via telephone, you will be dialing 602-666-0783 and enter meeting ID 187-123-6263 and then pound. And press pound again when prompted for attendee ID. I will now take this time to introduce myself to our Spanish-speaking audience. Muy buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Mario Barajas y junto con mi colega Elsie Duarte estaremos sirviéndoles como intérpretes para la audiencia de presupuesto virtual de hoy. Les pedimos como favor, si es que va a estar dando un comentario público, que hable despacio y deténgase después de cada pocas oraciones para que podamos interpretar lo que esté diciendo de la manera más completa posible. Muchísimas gracias. Ahora les indicaré cómo acceder a la audiencia por teléfono en español, si es que aún no lo ha hecho. Marcará el número de teléfono 602-666-0783. Introduzca el número de identificación o el ID de la reunión, que viene siendo 187-898-3879 y luego el pound, o sea, el signo de número. Y nuevamente va a introducir el signo de número de pound cuando se le pida a presentarlo. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Mario. And so before we begin taking your comments, we first want to show you a very brief video that highlights the trial budget and some of the things that are proposed in next year's budget. With that, I'll ask Matt Heil to cue the 21-22 trial budget video.
Thank you, sir. So we'll be showing the 21-22 trial budget summary video, and IT's bringing it up right now.
The City of Phoenix trial budget for fiscal year 2021-22, proposed by the Phoenix City Manager, is ready for public review and comment. The goal of this trial budget is to identify programs and services that build a better, more inclusive city for all.
Phoenix has a long history of public budgeting, giving the community a voice in the future of our city by starting the public involvement much earlier than required. This year, due to the pandemic, public involvement will be virtual, but our goal is that we will provide even more opportunities for you to share your feedback.
We'll host virtual budget community hearings between April 2nd and April 20th in both English and Spanish by council district and citywide for youth and for seniors. And this year, we've launched the Fund Phoenix tool, an interactive way to share what's important to you when it comes to city programs and services.
The law requires the city's budget to be balanced each year, and this year we are happy to report a projected budget surplus of $153 million, made up of $98 million in one-time funds and $55 million in ongoing funding. This is thanks to Phoenix's continued strong economy and sound leadership by the mayor and city council, and the city's strategic use of data to direct our efforts during the pandemic.
City employees have stood on the front lines of the pandemic more than a year and counting to provide critical services and support to our residents and customers. Approximately 77% of the surplus in the 2021-22 trial budget is allocated to employee compensation to continue to retain and recruit top talent, to provide the level of service our customers rely on to stay safe, healthy, and connected.
$35 million is allocated to address important needs raised by the council and the community across 6 areas. Focus Area 1. Public safety reform and responsiveness. More accountability, responsiveness, transparency, and trust is demanded from public safety programs. In this budget proposal, the city expands an already successful fire department program where trained mental health experts respond to 911 callers needing crisis health services. The expansion of the Community Assistance Program follows community and council requests for innovative ways to respond to crisis calls for service with mental health professionals rather than police officers. This not only strengthens health outcomes, but frees up police officers and firefighters to focus on public safety calls, reducing response times for our community. In addition, the budget adds other important public safety reforms by adding additional 911 operators, reducing wait time for police public records, improving police officer accountability through an improved human resource management system, and more comprehensive reporting of crime data.
Focus Area 2. COVID response and resiliency. The city's navigated the COVID pandemic well, protecting employees and the community because we have relied on data and contracted public health experts to inform our efforts. We transitioned City Hall to an appointment-only model. We also pivoted our programs and services to support the community in need of Wi-Fi connectivity and access to emergency food support and virtual and curbside library services, requiring additional staffing and technology enhancements. Funding's required to continue these efforts through the pandemic.
Focus Area 3, Climate Change and Heat Readiness. Climate change and the record-breaking heat in Phoenix call for investment in strategies to address the negative impacts on our residents, particularly our most vulnerable, including seniors and those in poverty and experiencing homelessness. The trial budget includes a new Office of Heat Response and Mitigation to focus these efforts, the addition of staff to plant and maintain trees, and advance the city's Cool Corridors program, all to meet the goals of the Tree and Shade Master Plan to double the tree canopy by 2030 and reduce the impact of heat.
Focus Area 4, affordable housing and homelessness. The city has a lack of affordable housing and more people experiencing homelessness than ever before. The City Council approved a Housing Phoenix plan and a homeless strategies plan to find solutions to identify funding to increase and improve affordable housing units and to leverage federal funding and work with community partners to help those experiencing homelessness. Funding will provide staffing and programs to foster affordable housing developments on city-owned land and ensure the safety and security of those experiencing homelessness and the impacted neighborhoods and businesses.
Focus Area 5, building community and responding to growth. There continues to be a great need to connect underserved communities to the economic benefits of our city's continued growth. We will fund programs and services that foster equitable education and recreation opportunities for youth and special needs populations, including the Phoenix Public Library's College Depot, clean and safe neighborhoods, and support for homegrown small businesses. Funding will support the growing needs at city parks and recreation centers, including the new Cesar Chavez Community Center, scheduled to open in the fall of 2021, Margaret T. Hance Park in downtown Phoenix, and Deem Hills Recreation Area in North Phoenix, as well as the successful inclusive recreation program for residents with special needs. We also propose an increase in funding for arts and historic preservation grants.
Focus Area 6, administrative accountability. The city must continue to foster a diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment to live and work for residents and employees. To succeed, we propose to create the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We'll also invest in technologies to support data-driven decision-making across city departments and to protect the city's IT systems from cybersecurity threats. Enhance election processes to increase engagement in city elections and connect residents to library and park services.
This has been just a taste of what you will find in the 2021-2022 City of Phoenix trial budget. We hope that you'll review additional details in the budget available online at Phoenix.gov/budget.
Please share your feedback in whatever way works best for you at one of our 14 community budget hearings or by email at budget.research@phoenix.gov. Through our Fund Phoenix interactive tool, you can comment on the city's social media at City of Phoenix AZ on Facebook or Twitter and use the hashtag PhoenixBudget. Or call us at 602-262-4800. The city manager will present his proposed budget for 2021-22 to the Phoenix City Council on May 4th, 2021. The council's budget decision will take place on May 18th, 2021. Both meetings will be streamed online and on Phoenix TV. Thank you for being part of this important process. We look forward to hearing your ideas for this year's trial budget and the future of Phoenix.
We'll now turn it over to public comment. However, before we start asking for those, I'll have Matt Howell read an opening statement on public comment.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I would like to read just a brief statement on conduct during public comment. Members of the public will have the opportunity to speak for up to 2 minutes on budget issues of interest or concern to them. Speakers must present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language and personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules can lose their opportunity to continue to speak. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the City Council to listen to the comments, but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented. And with that, our first speaker is Dan Clocky. Dan, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman Pastoris, this is Dan Clocky. I serve as the chair of the Historic Preservation Commission and live in District 4. And I just wanted to say thank you for the allocation for historic preservation for the $200,000 as an ongoing annual appropriation in the budget for matching grants for repairing the historic homes. We all know the last bond was passed back in 2006, and those funds are long gone at this point. So having some funds in there for folks that are looking to improve their homes in the historic districts is really critical. And just on a personal level, I was a recipient of one of these grants back in 2003 when I first moved to Phoenix, and I was able to purchase a home at that point, but the roof was actually slowly collapsing, and so the grant was actually a very big reason I was able to quickly repair the roof. And since then, I've put in probably 15 times that amount, so it really helps leverage sort of that private investment. So appreciate the consideration for this appropriation, and hope it can be ongoing. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jack Schwimmer. Jack, are you on the line? It does not appear as though Jack is on the line, so we'll go to the next speaker, Ricardo Palomera. Ricardo, are you on the line? It does not appear as though Ricardo is on the line. So our next speaker is Amy Meglio. Amy, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
All right, awesome. So yeah, I'm Amy Meglio, volunteer lead coord with Grassroots Law, and a member of the Neighborhood Organized Crisis Assistance Program Coalition. Also, my work, like my main office is out of District 4, but I like deliver all over the city, but right at the edge of the district. And I gotta say, it's like super disillusioning that after everything we saw this year with the the Brady list and the neo-Nazi coin challenge investigation being exposed, super disillusioning to have seen the plea vote that you voted for it. And I'm here to appeal today to you to please hear the community on the issue of crisis assistance and understand that it's a toxic culture. Like, you can't reform rotten roots. The culture is toxic, and like mental health calls are 16 times more likely to end in somebody getting shot by the police to escalate. So like, it's definitely really important that the program passes, but it's got to be passed the right way. There have been people showing up to every district budget hearing asking for a park at Samantha and 55th Avenue in Lavina. Like, give the kids their park. Take the $15 million to start the to start the community advocacy program out of the already overfunded, bloated, neo-Nazi associated police budget, and like invest that money back into the community. Operations dictate budget. So like, if 60,000 calls a year out of are like nonviolent wellness checks or mental health calls, then that 60,000 calls the police aren't going on. So like, use the money from that surplus to go give it to the kids, give it to the parks. You guys have like a climate initiative too, and the parks help that. Like, the community deserves its funds. Those are taxpayer funds. So yeah, I yield my time.
Thank you. I wanted to see if Dan was still on the line.
I am.
Yeah, and I had a question, and the question was, you had requested $4 for the historic preservation. In that process, you did not say, give a number of how much.
Well, I know the request was for $200,000. Obviously, Councilwoman Pastor, I'm a big supporter of historic preservation. I would appreciate more if there was an opportunity for that with this large surplus. And in particular, Chris Mackey's been a big help on the commercial side of things, but she also has a limited budget. Any kind of funds to help preserve some of our commercial buildings that need a lot of love would be most welcome as well. I don't know if I'd put a specific number on it, but we'd love to see an extra probably $100,000 or $200,000 in that if that's possible. But obviously, I know there's a lot of people looking for a lot of different things, so appreciate any consideration. Okay,
thank you, because the reason why I'm asking is because then we as a council then get together and say, okay, these were all the requests, what can we do and where can we go? So I'm hearing from you, this is in addition to what it already receives.
There is a $200,000 request in this current budget, okay, is my understanding, for matching grants.
So you're advocating.
So that's what
you're advocating for the 200 right now. I was thinking you were advocating for more than the 200.
Correct.
So are you advocating for another 200?
No, I'm advocating for the 200.
I'm gonna lead you there.
I would always be in favor of that, Councilwoman Pastor,
okay,
but I also know that there are a lot of needs out there.
Okay, so I know what you're asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Marcus Reed. Marcus, are you on the line? It does not appear as though Marcus is on the line. So our next speaker is Jeremy Schachter. Jeremy, are you on the line?
I am on the line. Can you hear me?
You're a little soft, Jeremy. If you could speak up a bit, but yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Is this better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. First, I want to say thank you so much to the council as well as the city of Phoenix for supporting the Willow 3rd and 5th Avenue transition. I have been living in Willow since 2009. I'm also a board member of the Willow Association, so I have a huge vested interest in making these design efforts, which are almost going to be at 80% design, but we do not have the funding for it. Ever since I lived in Willow since 2009, I've seen a highly increased traffic as well as safety concerns while walking my dogs each and every day and each and every night. COVID, which is obviously a huge pandemic, actually brought out the neighborhood, and everyone's walking their dogs. Children are walking in the streets, and we're constantly seeing wrong way drivers, and it's a really huge safety concern. I praise the city of Phoenix for doing an amazing job south of McDowell Road in the Roosevelt district, and we really would like to have the funding so we can have a design just like the Roosevelt design. I'm not sure if the council is aware, but there's 3 different designs between each different section between Van Buren and all the way up to Osborne Road where it's not consistent. So just picture yourself going on a highway of I-10, and when you go from 1 lane to 2 lanes, what do people do? They speed up. So when people are going northbound on a 1-way lane going from Roosevelt to Willow, we're going to have excessive speeding as well as safety concerns. So I'm asking the city of Phoenix as well as the council to allocate sufficient funds to make this happen for a 21-22 budget. And I greatly want to say thank you so much for your listening to the neighbors of Willow, because it's really important to get input. And we want to say thank you so much. And I'll yield to my yield.
Our next speaker is Bob Cannon. Bob, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Dr. Robert Cannon, president of the Willow Neighborhood Association. I'd like to affirm Jeremy's comments, but I also would like to put in a record and I'd like to read a phrase taken specifically from the Willow Conservation Plan, which was written by the city of Phoenix. It is on page 17 of the plan. It says, create a neighborhood in which adult children can get around easily and safely, whether by car, bicycle, and or foot. Design the street systems to reduce external traffic. Again, design the street system to reduce external traffic. As Jeremy has mentioned, we have so many people in the neighborhood now walking, biking, and I just want to reaffirm that there is some serious concern, specifically on 3rd Avenue, that we have more than multiple lane changes that will go on. The city of Phoenix, as you know, has a pedestrian issue. We are the largest historic neighborhood, and I'm so excited you allow me to speak, but we would appreciate any fundings to preserve the neighborhood and to support the Willow Conservation Plan that was written by the city. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Erica Gagnon. Erica Gagnon? Erica, are you on the line? Okay, it does not appear as though Erica is on the line. Our next speaker is Jeremy Thacker. Jeremy, are you on the line?
I am, yes. Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thanks. I'd like to say that I'm a little concerned that the public is not given the amount of information that we would need to assess the budget in a detailed manner. The city's open checkbook and the inventory of programs, there's a lot of distance in between those that's not able to be seen by the public. And it would be the equivalent of if I were to look over your personal budget and to say, you know, there's a category for automotive in there for X amount of dollars, but no information on how many cars that is, whether it includes gas or not, to actually assess whether it's a productive use of money. And even when I've requested to see that information, various times have been denied access to it. So this seems a little more like the illusion of public engagement for budget than it does actual ability to investigate and look at the budget. Yield my time.
Jeff, I've spoken to Jeremy, and my office has helped him on several of these requests. Could you please tell me, I know we have a transparency piece, but could you please tell me, he's asking for more details. Is that possible?
Councilwoman Pastor, Mr. Thacker, I've talked to Mr. Thacker as well as so has Amber Williamson, Budget and Research Director. The inventory of programs document and the Fund to Phoenix document is not designed to do what Mr. Thacker is asking for. What Mr. Thacker is asking for is more in line with what is on the city's checkbook, which is what the finance department maintains. But again, I think even to that level, he's asking for a much deeper dive of the detail, which generally speaking does not exist at the level he's asking for. But anything that he asks for, if he wants, again, to the extent that we can, we've always been willing to provide and share information as well as talk to him. We do pride ourselves on transparency. And again, the budget is as transparent as we possibly have made it over the past couple of years. It's, you know, we get awards all the time for being as transparent as we possibly can.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that we don't have the current ability to do a program or software or the ability to do what the request is. And so I understand that and understand also his needs of wanting to see that. So it is a request, and I hope maybe we can look into that or see what the cost is. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Tom Dosher. Tom, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. I'm Tom Dosher. I am the chair of the Willow Zoning Committee, and I'm here tonight to ask that you fund the 3rd and 5th extension from McDowell Road north to Thomas. I've lived in the neighborhood for 18 years. I've seen a piecemeal approach to traffic mitigation. As Dr. Cannon pointed out, that has been part of the Willow plan since its inception. I really believe that a coordinated effort to move it, budget it, and build it and construct it in Willow will mitigate the traffic concerns, such as we have the Sonoran bike trail going up through 3rd Avenue that would separate it from vehicles. We don't have sidewalks on 5th Avenue north of Encanto. Having a pedestrian walkway would help with safety in that area, and reducing traffic to 1 lane in each direction would also increase safety in the neighborhood. So again, thank you for listening to me, and ask that you include the construction of 3rd and 5th in the budget. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Linda Dosher. Linda, are you on the line?
I am.
Please proceed.
My name is Linda. Okay. I have lived in Willow with Tom since 2003, and we moved here because of it was a neighborhood like what we grew up with in the Midwest. People are always walking outside. There's kids in the neighborhood, people biking, but the traffic is really getting worse and worse. And people are going down the wrong way, speeding. And I wanted to come back to a neighborhood where kids can go out and ride their bikes and people can walk. And I think that we're getting there. The city has been great in working with us to develop a design. I also am on the board of directors. I'm the treasurer for the board of directors of the Willow Neighborhood Association. We've been active in the Willow board for several years, but I'd like to see, I like what is happening south of McDowell on Roosevelt and 3rd Avenue. I'm hoping that can extend. I think it will slow down traffic, and it will make it a safer area and bring it back to being the neighborhood it's supposed to be. So I urge you to approve a budget for Willow for the third and fifth continuation north of McDowell. And I also thank you for working so well with us and getting the design going.
Our next speaker is Opal Wagner. Opal, are you on the line?
Yes, I am here, and I thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I also live in the Willow Historic District and serve on the Willow Neighborhood Association Board, and I share my neighbors' concerns about 3rd and 5th Avenue. They're designated by the city for decades as local streets, and they've become to where they're not being used as local streets. They're being used as cut-through commuter channels by people who are trying to avoid traffic on 7th Avenue and Central Avenue throughout the day, really, but especially during rush hour. For more than a year, the City of Phoenix Street Transportation Department has been working on a redesign, and it's a great redesign of 3rd and 5th Avenue that would reduce speeding by reducing 2 lanes to 1 lane and also adding a stop sign to accommodate the Sonoran Pike bike pathway at Encano and 3rd Avenue, and providing vertical barriers that would provide buffered bike lanes, which would greatly improve safety for cyclists. However, we were disappointed to find out at our last public engagement meeting with Keeney Knudsen and staff that the project is not funded. It's only funded through the design phase, but not implementation. So here we're going to have this great project. It's due to be at the 90% design phase by this summer, and we're being told, well, it's just going to be sitting on the shelf and they don't have money to implement it. So it's too important of a project and too vital to preserving the livability and safety of our neighborhood for traffic, pedestrians, and cyclists to let this project, this great redesign, go unfunded. So I'm asking that the budget include funding for the 3rd and 5th Avenue North redesign from McDowell to Thomas. Thank you for all you're doing, and thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Our next speaker is Bob Herman. Bob, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please proceed.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I live at the corner of 5th Avenue and Monte Vista in the Willow neighborhood. And as we've heard from the other, some other speakers, the Street Transportation Department has in the design phase of a project which will mitigate speeding and cut through traffic. This design includes traffic calming measures, pedestrian-friendly walkways, and bicycle lanes. As Councilwoman Pastor knows, I have been vocal about the speeders on the 3rd and 5th Avenues and the cut-through traffic from 7th Avenue. But I'm pleased with the progress on this project, on the design of the project, and I'm also pleased that many of people in the neighborhood are engaged in the process. So I'm asking you to include funds in the budget to carry this project through construction and completion. This will help keep the city's commitment to the Willow neighborhood to, as Bob Cannon said, create a neighborhood in which adults, children can get around easily and safely, whether by car, bicycle, or on foot. And it will design streets to be exclude or reduce external traffic. So this is a commitment the city of Phoenix made to the Willow neighborhood in 1986. And I feel this commitment can be kept by approving the funds to complete the project that's has been designed. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Heidi Galata. Heidi, are you on the line?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Please proceed.
Cool. Hi, my name's Ida Galata. I am a resident of District 4. And with regard to the Phoenix Police Department budget, I want to know why this is still the conversation we're having. Last year, we were told that our outrage and our protests came too late in the process, and the only thing that was even in scope was how well civilian oversight was going to be funded. Last year, the city's choice to raise the police budget again in a year of restricted services, COVID budget cuts, and a national reckoning with police violence was so egregious, the Phoenix Police Department's violent history and gross mismanagement of public funds got a scathing write-up in the Appeal, which is a national publication. It's about 10 months later. The cops are still violent, the cops are still racist, the cops are still politically motivated, with major instances in this last year showing them intentionally targeting those they see as leftists or adjutants with physical harm and arrest. The cops are still cooperating with ICE, making our undocumented community members less safe and effectively stripping them of their ability to protest injustice. What role does a police department like that have in making the city more inclusive, to quote your own budget promotional video? Why are we coming to the table again, having this conversation again about the Phoenix City Council raising the police budget again? Because from my perspective, it doesn't look like we came too late to the process last year. It looks like the process was designed to ignore and deflect difficult questions about institutional funding. The Phoenix PD doesn't need more of our money. They don't deserve more of our money. We can't keep throwing more and more money year after year at a police department that actively serves to hurt our communities. We need to actively take responsibilities out of Phoenix PD's hands, distribute them to more capable and competent offices, and we need to take away Phoenix PD's ability to hurt our communities. That means taking away their money, not giving them more. I don't want to have the same conversation again a year from now with a longer list of dead people, grieving families, and obvious egregious offenses, but frankly, the Phoenix City Council has given me no reason to expect anything else.
Our next speaker is Sandra Lefkovic. Sandra, are you on the line?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Thank you. I am a resident of Willow in District 4, and I'm also a member of the Board of Directors of Willow, and I would like to echo Dr. Cannon's and other residents and board members' sentiments about the budget for 3rd and 5th Avenue extension. We're asking that the city allocates the funds for this extension north of McDowell, as we're aiming to reduce external traffic. It's very heavy now. There's a lot of cut through, a lot of speeders, a lot of wrong way drivers. It's very unsafe to ride a bike or walk or even just turn a corner. Just leaving my street of Coronado to turn onto 5th can be like a shooting gallery at times. It's just cars coming and speeding, and you could be hit at any time. We need to catch up to Roosevelt. We need to have smoother traffic and make it a one homogeneous traffic pattern. Thank you very much for allocating the budget thus far for the design. Now we would like to get to the completion phase. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Donna Rayner. Donna, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please proceed.
This is Dr. Donna Rayner. I happen to be a resident of District 4. And Councilwoman Pastor, you will be thrilled to know that I am not asking for money this year for the upkeep and maintenance of public art, because there has been an addition of funds proposed in this budget to meet the various art needs, whether it's grants, it's the public art, and help for artists, et cetera, et cetera. And I am also pleased that at last we are adding more money for historic preservation, because as you know, I live in a historic neighborhood, and I'm always very concerned about the needs that people have to keep their homes livable. So I hope, and yes, I would ask for more money, but I'm not being greedy. There are other programs that do need money besides the things that have already been spelled out in the proposed budget. So thank you again.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that.
Our next speaker is Brad Brower. Brad, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please proceed.
Hello, Councilwoman, Pastor, city staff, and neighbors. My name is Brad Brower. I've served on the Willow Neighborhood Board in many capacities over the last 16 years, and I've lived at 3rd Avenue in Monte Vista since 2004. We've been working on reducing and slowing traffic in Willow Historic District for many years, and although we've tried many things, we've not been really successful. We're thankful now to have a very well-designed streetscape for 3rd and 5th Avenues, and I'm asking the city to include this improvement in installation in the upcoming budget. This design will help to control traffic and speed, protect neighbors in their homes, bicyclists, pedestrians, and children. If I'm not mistaken, we did have approval in the last budget that was affected by COVID-19. South of McDowell has been drastically improved. However, those waiting at the lights at McDowell and 3rd will see an overly wide street in front of them, more like a freeway by comparison to 3rd South, and will encourage speeding to get to Thomas and beyond. I ask that the city put the funds into our budgets to complete the redesign of 3rd and 5th Avenues to provide safety, consistency, and protect our families. Thank you. I yield the rest of the time.
Our next speaker is Jenny Poon. Jenny, are you on the line? It does not appear as though Jenny is on the line, so we'll go next to Lara Sands.
She had to go. She's on a panel. She texted me. She's advocating for more money in the economic development. I can't remember the exact program, so.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Lara Sands.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yes, I'm Lara Sands. I'm a resident of District 4. I also live in Willow, which is a beautiful neighborhood. I want to echo the request of all of my fellow neighbors who've spoken this evening. They've explained what our needs are and what our vision is for the future. I'd like to clarify that as a person who gets around the city primarily on bicycle, that I've really appreciated what the city has done with 3rd and 5th Avenues south of McDowell, and also what's the process and what transpired with 3rd Avenue between Osborne and Indian School. So 3rd Avenue, 5th Avenue, they're amenities for the whole city, not just for Willow. And cyclists everywhere would appreciate this connectivity when the project is constructed and completed. So my request is that you include money for the construction of the 3rd and 5th Avenue design that has been worked on this year when you complete the budget this year. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Zach Holman. Zach, are you on the line?
Hello.
Hello, please
My
proceed.
name is Zach Holman, and I'm a resident of Willow as well. And thank you for the opportunity to give input today. I get around the city by bicycle and by light rail. Feel very fortunate to be able to do so. And it's been wonderful to see the developments since I moved to the city 8 years ago in bicycle lanes and connectivity, and in some cases, improvements for pedestrians as well. And I would like to advocate generally for the acceleration of streets that are pedestrian and bicycle centric. I don't think the future of the city is one with more black asphalt and cars in it. And I'd like to see us accelerate towards something that's progressive in terms of streets and transportation and livability and a place that we all want to continue to live. More particularly in the Willow neighborhood, it's been a silver lining to COVID to see the pedestrians and bicyclists that have been out using 3rd and 5th Avenue in the Willow neighborhood. There have been many more than there were in the past, and that has continued and sustained for the last year. And I think some of that has to do with the recent projects going on south of McDowell, because we see many people, not just those who live in the neighborhood, using 3rd and 5th Avenue as a place to get out and stroll and stretch and be with your children and your grandparents, etc. And so I would like to echo the sentiments and the requests of my neighbors to include in the budget the funds to take us past the design phase, which has gone very well, to a complete build. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kush Giovanni. Kush, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Hi, my name is Chris Giovanni. Like so many speakers who have spoken today, I'm also part of the Willow community and echo their concerns and their requests. Like them, I'm calling to lobby the council for allocating the budget towards funding the renovation of 3rd and 5th between McDowell and Thomas. I believe this project, will assist in safeguarding the neighborhood and the public. As Mr. Dosher explained, we don't have a sidewalk north of Encanto Boulevard on Fifth Ave. So residents, dog walkers, kids who are trick-or-treaters are directly exposed to speeding traffic. And as Linda Dosher also said, the project matches the renovation of Roosevelt Street to the south of our neighborhood, which is great. Again, I want to thank the city, like everyone has, for the funding to redesign. I've loved the redesign, and the redesign is approaching completion. I'd lobby the committee to make this approximate reality. I'll yield the rest of my time.
Our next speaker is Ana Hernandez. Ana, are you on the line? It does not appear as though Ana is on the line, so we'll go next to Ann Bommersbach. Ann, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please proceed.
Yes, my name is Ann Bommersbach. I am a resident of Willow, and I'm also on the Willow Historic Association board. I first want to thank you. I actually reviewed quickly this 68-page trial budget. I found it very comprehensive, and I was actually impressed with it. So thank you for all the work that was put into that. And I'm here asking you to allocate funding, as others have, for the construction phase of the 3rd and 5th Avenue extension north of McDowell. Others have already said that we have, safety issues, speeding, wrong way drivers. And something I've noticed the last 5 or 6 years since I've lived here, the demographic has changed significantly in Willow. On my street, when I first moved here, I think there was 1 child under the age of 12. And now I think we have 8 on this block. And it really is unsafe for these children to play anywhere near the streets in the neighborhood because of all the cut-through traffic and the speeding. So because of all these reasons, I'm asking you to allocate the additional funding. I appreciate, I think it was $500,000 that has already been spent on the design phase. And there's a lot of work and effort and community outreach, and I appreciate all of that. But I don't want that to sort of go to waste if we don't continue and actually construct the project. So I hope that you'll allocate funding for that. And I thank you. And I'll cede the rest of my time.
Our next speaker is Carrie Brennan. Carrie, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks so much for giving me the chance to speak. I'm a newly minted Phoenix homeowner in City Council District 4, and I just want to say, first off, I really appreciate this budget and so many of the investments that you're making for the good of the city. I will say, however, that in trying to prepare for this meeting, it was a little bit frustrating to see that 77% of the trial budget is kind of hiding under that line item of labor. And while, like everybody else, I really appreciate what our public servants have done, especially during the pandemic, it does make it hard to compare certain key parts of that labor budget, which of personal interest to me is police staffing costs. And so I would really urge the opportunity, provide the opportunity to the community to actually see what's under those labor costs and understand how negotiations are going with the police union and make those negotiations and the terms of them public so that we can really address the historical overinvestment in policing, which includes staff salaries as well as a number of positions. As our city grows, housing affordability is a real crisis, which was acknowledged in the video that you screened. And that's really why we need to be able to reallocate money from an overfunded police force, which is known to harass our unhoused neighbors, and instead invest more of that money into our community, providing more money for community services and also homelessness prevention services. Thank you very much for the chance to speak.
Our next speaker is Aaron Pratt. Aaron, are you on the line?
I am. Thank you so much. My name is Aaron Pratt. I'm a resident of the Willow neighborhood. I live on Almeria between 1st and 3rd Avenue. And I'm here to echo what so many of my neighbors have said. I believe that the third, fifth project is very important for the future of our neighborhood. And I would request that the city council consider full funding for that project so that it can move on to the next phase and be completed. Thank you so much. I yield the rest of my time.
Our next speaker is Michael Olskow. Michael, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. My name is Michael Lesko. I am in City Council District 4 as well, and I do live in Willow. But my primary focus is on the arts. Arts and culture are the soul of the city. It's what gives it life and helps sets it apart. I think we can all remember a time, and it's not too long ago, when people would say, oh, we need to be more like XYZ city. Thankfully, we're not doing that anymore. We've somehow grown up. We stopped apologizing for what we weren't and started accepting who we are, and we need to be proud of it. And we are proud of it. I think a big part of that is City Council and the mayor's support of arts and culture in the city, in Phoenix. It went a long way to make the city what it is today and really revitalize it. So what am I asking for? To conclude, I'm asking City Council not only approve the trial budget with the additional funding of $200,000 for the Office of Arts and Culture, but if you could increase it by, say, another $200,000, and I'll give you the breakdown that I see as well. I'm sure that Mitch Menchaca's team will put that to good use, as he and the team did with the COVID funding for the arts and artist organizations that kept them going this past year, so that they will be able to come back and come back strong. How I would see that additional $200,000 broken out? I'd say $100,000 for grants. That is the lifeline for the arts organizations and programs. And then an additional $100,000 for art maintenance, for public art maintenance. So we're not just doing cosmetic things, but we're actually improving infrastructure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Fred Ulrich. Fred, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Hi, my name is Fred Ulrich. I'm from the 4th City Council District. And I also, like Michael before me, I'm here to speak about the importance for support in the arts. I would start out by saying that I thank you for the efforts made in this past year during the pandemic with the grants program, the support for specific public art projects. All of this was a lifeline to the Phoenix art community. I'm also very happy to see the City Council continuing to support the arts organization and individual artists for this coming fiscal year. An increase in the arts budget means more access to the art activities throughout the entire city. In summary, I just have to say that there are two communities that are being affected by this support. The first one, obviously, are the artists. And this will definitely benefit them from this budget action. And they're able to sustain their art practice by this support. But the second community that's being affected are all of us, all the people that are residents of Phoenix and the visitors of Phoenix that are dealing with and experiencing the art that is here and the new art that is coming. And with that, I really do thank you for the continued support and realize that we get to live right in the middle of all this art and the benefit from the projects that you have made possible, which makes living in the desert so attractive. So I really do ask you to support the projected budget, pass it, and agree with Michael for the extra money if so allowed it. So thank you.
Our next speaker is AJ Marston. AJ, are you on the line?
Yes. Hello to all of you who are listening tonight. I'm AJ Marston. I live in D4 at 11th Avenue in Camelback. I feel that this budget has sound pieces in place for public safety, crisis intervention, and community building. I also like that there's funding for sustainability, arts, diversity, youth, and other quality of life aspects. This is a good budget. Let's ensure that the funding goes to sound practices. It's interesting to hear about what other cities are doing and want to do that here in Phoenix, but it's not enough to just learn about the initiation of a program. It's crucial to learn about and heed the long-term outcome of plans, policies, and spendings. Long-term, as in 2 to 3 years down the road. I'm hearing horrible stories of increased crime in cities where the police have been defunded, but let's focus on what does work. We know that preventing crime in neighborhoods works. We know that neighborhoods and businesses partnering with their CAOs and the police works. We know that residents utilizing the libraries, parks, city departments, schools, nonprofits, and agencies, we know that all of this works. Reducing crime might not be easy and it might not be quick, but we know it works. I mean, I continue to work with my neighbors and the businesses here along the Camelback Light Rail corridor, and actually with a lot of other people all around Phoenix. I also want to advocate for gated alleys, for all alleys where gates are wanted. D4 has the most alleys in it. My husband's sword fighting gym is also in D4. The gym was in the news on March 18th for being burnt by an alley dumpster fire. So pull stats on alley break-ins, alley fires, and illegal dumping in alleys. Compare the cost of implementing the process with victims' personal costs and time when an alley crime happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ethan Abeg. Ethan, are you on the line? It doesn't appear as though Ethan is on the line, so then our next speaker is Jim Stewart. Jim, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, City Council, City of Phoenix, and fellow neighbors of the Willow. Here, I am also here to discuss the critical need to fully fund the redesign of the 3rd and 5th Avenue corridors from McDowell to Muhammad Ali Way. I'm a resident of the Willow near Thomas and 3rd Avenue, and there's one element that my neighbors haven't mentioned yet, and that is the risk to the City of Phoenix, the citizens of the City of Phoenix, and also its budget by not fully funding this. Every morning I walk my dog, and sometimes I walk my dog with an elderly neighbor, and it's just insane how many times we have to rush across either 3rd Avenue, close to Thomas, or 5th Avenue, close to McDowell, because cars are gunning it to make the light. Fully funding this beautiful redesign will calm the traffic, as it's already doing south of McDowell, and make for a much safer and, enjoyable experience. I yield my time.
Our next speaker is John Shapiro. John, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you. Mayor, Council, and City staff, my name is John Shapiro. I've been living with HIV for 32 years, with 22 of those years as a resident of District 4 in Phoenix. I'm a member of the Presidential Advisory Council on HIV/AIDS, as well as a member of the Phoenix Fast Track Cities Initiative. Tonight, I join the HIV community and other members of the Fast Track Cities Initiative to advocate for $250,000 in the city budget to mobilize and engage our community to end the HIV epidemic in Phoenix. You may think that ending the HIV epidemic is unattainable. Nothing could be further from the truth. Today, we have the right people, the right tools, and with your help, the right resources to end our local HIV epidemic by 2030. Throughout Phoenix, we have the right people providing high quality, high impact HIV prevention and care services. We have the right tools, rapid testing, pre-exposure prophylaxis, and a variety of HIV services that keep people healthy and well. For example, a collaborative effort by multiple HIV providers, the START program, cut linkage to care timeframes for newly diagnosed individuals from 30 days 2 years ago to just 6 days today. What we need now is funding to educate our community about HIV, encourage people to get tested for HIV, and engage in prevention or care options depending upon their diagnosis. Youth 18 to 30 are now the largest population acquiring HIV, especially young Black and Latino men. Assessments we've conducted locally show that the youth have little knowledge of HIV. The funding I've discussed would help us implement media initiatives to reignite community interest and conversations about HIV. Funding could also be used to educate medical providers on the START program, modern HIV testing methods, and services that help people link people to care. Finally, I'll share the top 5 zip codes for new HIV cases, regardless of district in Phoenix: 85009, 85008, 85015, 85035, and 85017. These zip codes account for about 20% of all new cases in Phoenix. Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Martinez III. David, are you on the line?
I am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Pastor and Mr. Barton, for your time. Congratulations on your new role. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Pastor, and also to Councilwoman Stark for their leadership with the Fast Track Cities initiative. My name is David Martinez. I'm a resident of District 4 and a proud member, just like my friend John Shapiro, on the Fast Track Cities initiative, where Phoenix has been an international model for HIV and AIDS prevention efforts. I requestfully asked that we support the $250,000 as proposed in the trial budget for the city budget. We've made tremendous progress as part of the Fast Track Cities initiatives to do things like expand the Rapid Start program, as was just mentioned, to test and treat Phoenix residents to ensure that the linkage to care is cut and adequate medical care for HIV diagnosed patients happens. As was just mentioned, we've been able to cut that linkage to care to just 6 days, down from 30 just 2 years ago. And for those living with HIV, viral suppression was cut from 129 days in 2018 to just 37 days in 2020. Tremendous progress that can be continued to be made with this investment from the city of Phoenix. So with your support, we hope to continue that progress so Phoenix can be a leader in ending the HIV epidemic. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Adrian Keller. Adrian, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please proceed.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Pastor. My name is Adrian. I'm 23 and I'm relatively new to Phoenix. I live in District 4. I really love living in Phoenix, but I'm really concerned also about the expected increases in extreme heat events that will, is projected to occur due to climate change if significant action is not taken. So I'm really excited to see and just want to express my support for the creation of the Office of Heat Response and Mitigation, and also express my support for that increase in funding to the Office of Environmental Programs. Nothing is more important than our efforts to combat climate change. And so I just want to thank you for your support of these issues. And then one other thing I wanted to kind of ask a question about. I noticed that there was a proposed increase to the Streets Department for increased landscape management and litter removal along the Grand Canal. It looks like that's just for a specific section, but I live right next to the Grand Canal, sort of along 23rd Ave near Indian School, and the litter along there has just gotten so much worse these past few months. I like to go out and pick up what I can when I can, but really feels like it's kind of getting out of hand. And so I don't know if any of that proposed money will go to kind of beautifying the Grand Canal near the Westwood Estates neighborhood. But if there's an opportunity for it to do so, that would be wonderful. It's a really, really great community asset. I love riding my bike along it, but it's just kind of turned into an eyesore recently. So once again, thank you so much for your time.
Our next speaker is Mario Romero. Mario, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Yes, I'm here. My name is Mario Romero. I live in District 4 and been living there over 40 years. And I just calling to say that I'm just talking about why I support the arts. Just for myself, I see it as just simply as an audience member and attendee. I've lived in Phoenix my entire life, and the arts have been very important to me. So I'd like to thank you for supporting Phoenix's arts organizations, all the individual artists, and the Office of Arts and Culture. An increase in the arts budget means more access for arts programming all around the city, and it makes certain that our community public art is maintained to continue to be points of pride, inspiration, and beauty for all our residents. Our city it's grown so much, and we've gone from a B-tier city to an A-tier city. We've got the arts, we have the food scene, so let's just keep doing it. And I'm so happy to see the city's continued support for this sector, and then the increase of $200,000 towards the Office of the Arts and Culture Programming and Public Art Maintenance. And I thank you for that. And of course, we can always use more. Again, thank you for allowing me to speak. Have a good evening.
Our next speaker is Michael Kruck. Michael, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please
Thank
proceed.
you, Councilwoman Pastor. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Kruck, and I'm a 22-year Army combat veteran that works for U.S. Vets. As the TIP program coordinator, one of the struggles I have faced is finding affordable housing for homeless veterans. I am happy that funds are being allocated for affordable housing and homelessness. In addition, as a veteran, I'm here to advocate for the funding of a full-time position dedicated to veterans. Thank you all for your time.
Our next speaker is Michelle Jameson. Michelle, are you on the line?
I am.
Please proceed.
Councilwoman Pastor, I am the Executive Director of U.S. Vets, and I would like to thank the City of Phoenix for their initiative on veterans issues and all that they have done to support our mission to end veteran homelessness. I am here to advocate for the funding of a full-time position dedicated to veterans. Our veterans have served our country to include all that are here today. Adding a full-time position to assist veterans would be a gesture of thank you for their service. Thank you for your support.
Our next speaker is Adam Hawkins. Adam, are you on the line?
Yes, sir, I am.
Please
Can you hear me?
proceed. Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pastor. Proud resident of District 4 and a constituent here. I'm also a Phoenix lifer and a fifth-generation native. I just want to thank you and the City of Phoenix and the staff for all that they've done to advocate for our veterans and for all that they've done to invest in our veterans and their future. In particular, the funding of the new U.S. Vets campus, as well as a number of the programs that City of Phoenix has done for our veterans, have really made me proud to call Phoenix my home. I would like to, in addition to Michelle Jameson and a few of the others here tonight, advocate for the creation of a city employee dedicated to serving our veterans and our veterans' needs moving forward, and I'll yield the balance of my time. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Frank Deaver. Frank, are you on the line? It does not appear as though Frank is on the line, so our next speaker then is Cynthia Garcia. Cynthia, are you on the line? Cynthia? You may be muted. We cannot hear you. Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker then. It's Naeli Morales. It appears as though Naeli is not on the line, so then we'll go to Ginny Ann Sumner. Ginny, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Please proceed.
I appreciate this year to be able to talk about spending money and not about reducing services. Thank you to everyone involved making this possible. There is much to support in the proposed budget additions: mental health responders, 911 operators, affordable housing on City of Phoenix property, arts and culture activities. When it comes to climate change and heat readiness, please don't forget the missing and yet unplanted trees in the old Crosscut Park south of Thomas Road. I support adding a park supervisor position to oversee the urban park ranger patrol program as long as Phoenix Cares does not become the exclusive focus. I support our police chief and our officers. As a community member, I volunteer to participate as a stakeholder listed under Police number 5, various. There's one additional item I respectfully request you consider. Most of the time our flatland parks are open. Our park ranger or park employee is not on site. If there is a problem or an issue, park visitors do not have a way to get information or help except by calling the police. Most problems require immediate attention and not a call back the next day because the parties involved and the circumstances no longer exist or have escalated so much that it is a police call. At one time, the number 262 Park was active. Phoenix 311 will work only if it is answered after 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and on weekends. Otherwise, it is not a solution. Please add to the proposed budget additions a phone number available to park users during the hours our parks are open and posted on park signs. Only one phone number will be necessary and it can be rotated between the park ranger supervisors. Thank you.
Jenny, I didn't hear you. You mentioned Phoenix Cares and you said something about a replacement. I didn't catch that.
Okay, what I was talking about is that within the budget, there is an addition, let me find my exact, there is an addition of a park ranger supervisor for the urban park patrol program. And one of the assignments will be to work with Phoenix Cares. My concern is that it becomes the exclusive focus of the park ranger supervisor because currently both our community action officers and our MROP officers are spending so much time with the Phoenix Cares program that it's left our neighborhoods without help. And our MROP officers, I would really, again, as I support them as you do, would like to see them working again with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Thank you.
Understood.
Our next speaker is Robert Nolan. Robert, are you on the line?
I am on the line.
Please proceed.
Thank you very much. Council members and staff, my name is Robert Dale Nolan. I am a resident of City Council District 7. I look directly across the street from Encanto. I live on the other side of the golf course. Today, I wanted to thank you and the staff for your incredible work during the 2020 pandemic. And I wanted to just point out a couple of very short asks. For the arts, I live facing Grand Avenue and the artist community on Grand Avenue, and they have really thrived as a consequence of the good decision making and the foresight of the budget and that allowed them to both weather the obstacles and difficulties that were presented last year and continue their work and not have to make those decisions. So I did want to thank the priority funding for arts on the budget process. But in regards to the trial budget, the City's demonstrated its dedication to the sector, and I would love to see that continue. Along those lines, thank you again for the $200,000 increase in the budget from last year, and I really hope that the spirit of that continues into this year. And I'm very, very hopeful about some of these new departments that were mentioned in that informational video at the beginning of the session. So again, thank you, council members and staff, and I yield my time.
Our next speaker is Richard Deriarte. Richard, are you on the line?
I'm on the line, Matt.
Please proceed.
Yes, my name is Richard De Uriarte. I have lived in Phoenix for 42 years, even before there was a council district system. I wanted to specifically join my Historic Preservation Commission members, Dan Clocky, to endorse the proposed $200,000 funding for a residential rehab grant program for historic homes that's included in the city manager's budget. Now, such a program has been in force in the past. It's been included in previous bond issues and adopted by voters. It's those funds have been run out and depleted, but the need for residential rehab is just as pressing, specifically in those older historic districts like Roosevelt, Woodland, and Garfield. The program's competitive. The projects are reviewed by a panel and then submitted to the Historic Preservation Commission. This funding and the projects will make a difference in our city. I just wanted to finally express my appreciation to the mayor, Councilmember Pastor, and the city manager staff for steering the city and these hearings through the past year. The city's in good hands. That's all. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ainsley Onganu. Ainsley, are you on the line?
Make a comment. Richard, next time I think you need to have your granddaughter Ava call in and advocate for historic preservation. Thank you.
It does not look like Ainsley was on the line, so our next speaker is Tara Loman Rojas. Tara, are you on the line? It does not appear that Tara's on the line, so our next speaker is Ann Ender. Ann, are you on the line?
I am.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Pastor, for hosting this meeting. And additionally, I want to thank you for supporting the police contract. And to Mr. Barton and your team, I want to thank you for a comprehensive budget that has addressed the needs of the community. I am Ann Ender, and I'm president and founder of Operation Blue Ribbon. And there is so much to support in this budget, and I appreciate the support of our veterans and the work that U.S. Vets is accomplishing. So another thank you. Having listened to most of these hearings, I have great concerns about the suggestions and proposal of the Neighborhood Organized Crisis Assistance Program. I understand that this program will be assessed and created once the budget is adopted, the one that the city has in the budget. No Cap's request to utilize the $20 million budget surplus to create what they believe the community needs is, in my opinion, potentially dangerous. Of greatest concern is that the department, as they envision it, will be making the judgment calls about any escalated situation they're called to resolve. This from a coalition who in a recent meeting said, "Get the police out of our communities." This is not what represents how I or most Phoenicians believe that our tax dollars should be spent. The members of this coalition should review the critical incident reports, specifically the incident that occurred on March 29, 2020 in Northwest Phoenix. The call came in for a roommate dispute, and it ended in critically injuring 2 officers and mortally wounding a 31-year veteran of the Phoenix Police Department. Would that outcome have been different deploying No Cap's model? I don't think it would. So in ending, thank you again for all of this and letting me speak. And I would just like to honor our police department and Commander Greg Carnicle for his service. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jerry Lynn Vanier. Jerry Lynn, are you on the line? It does not appear as though they're on the line, so next we'll go to Ramon Gomez. Ramon, are you on the line?
Yes, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Please proceed.
Good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for having these meetings for the public. I'm Ramon Gomez. I live in Lavina, Arizona, District 8 member. I'm calling today to request that there's funding for the building of the park off 55th Avenue and Samantha Way in Lavina, Arizona. I'm a resident here going on 6 years. When I first bought the property, it was an empty lot, and this was the last subdivision in the Paseo Point community that was being built. The real estate agent told us that they were going to build the school, that park, and the 202. Those were great amenities that, you know, made my wife and I make the decision of building and residing here and building our roots. As of now, the school has been built, the 202 is up and running and bringing a lot of businesses and many more homes south of Dobbins, which is, I live right on the edge of Dobbins, but the park is yet to be built. It is an eyesore and it's greatly needed. The closest park to us is 3 miles away. And the school is right across from the park. A couple of weeks ago, they had a Play 16. The field in the school property was filled with kids and parents. If that park would have been built, they could have extended the event to the park and made more room and made it more accessible for them to have more room to do the activities that they were doing. So I just want you guys to take that into consideration. The budget is going to be a little bit under $160,000 for the building of the park. I know there will be funding moving forward for the maintenance, but you know, it would be a great addition to our community here. Thank you, and I yield the rest of my time.
Ramon, I want to say, you said you lived there since 2000, or you've lived there 6 years?
6 years now. Yeah, it'll be 6 years in May.
Okay, let me think.
July.
I had this conversation, I want to say 2006, 2007, about this development being built and about a park and everything around it. And at the time, it was spoken about the school would be able to share the park and be able to use it along with the community. And so, let's see. I can't do my math right, but let's see, 17, that's 10, almost 14 years later, we're having this conversation, and I find that very amusing, not amusing on your part, but I'm using that term. And now what I hear is you're telling me it's only going to be $165,000, I'll round it up, $200,000 to create this park. Am I hearing this correct?
Yes, one of our great leaders here is Linda Abig. She might be on the line and upcoming next. She's got a lot of more data, but from one of the propositions that she sent through our neighborhood app was that, you know, just the funding for, you know, a field, like a soccer field and basketball courts, a couple of picnic areas, and just a, you know, a little walkway is under 200,000 for sure for it to be built, because it's not a big lot, but it's still, it'll make a big difference. Like I said,
you'll activate it. You'll activate it, and families and people will be able to use it.
Yes, definitely, especially the school. Like I said, that event, and they have it. I don't know if it's every quarter. With COVID, they slowed down, and I hadn't seen it for a long time. And when I was driving out of my neighborhood and I saw the field packed, and they all wear their red jerseys, play 60, and you know, it's events that they have in several schools, and it was just jam packed. If you would have seen it, you would have been like, "Wow, we could have."
Well, I hope it wasn't during COVID. It's a joke.
Well,
it's a joke to you.
Yes, I get it.
All right, understood. My question to Jeff Barton is, in this thing, would it also include maintenance?
So, Councilwoman Pastor, from what I understand, the cost to actually build the park is a little bit more. The cost to maintain the park is about $200,000 a year. So if we were to add this as part of the city manager's budget at your direction, at the council's direction, we would include not only the cost to build, but also the cost to maintain it.
Are we saying 400,000?
I don't know the cost of the actual construction off the top of my head, but I do know that there are impact fees available that could theoretically build the park.
Okay.
So we're looking into that now.
Okay, so then we have the possibility of looking at the impact fees and
This is
getting up
definitely
and
a
going.
possibility. This park is definitely a possibility.
I didn't hear you, what?
This park is definitely a possibility.
Okay, so Ramon, you should be happy, have a beer. I'm gonna have to continue with the budget here, and even if you don't drink, maybe drink some iced tea. I don't know.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
definitely.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next speaker is Jacob Rayford. Jacob, are you on the line? It does not appear as though Jacob is on the line. So our next speaker is Rosa Pastrana. Rosa, are you on the line?
Rosa, adelante.
Sí, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Rosa Pastrana.
My name is Rosa Pastrana.
Soy un blood watch hispano aquí en el área de Maryville.
And I'm with the Neighborhood Block Watch in the Maryville area.
Específicamente en el área 43 Avenida, 35 Avenida, Indian School y la Osborne Road.
And specifically in the areas between 43rd Avenue, 35th Avenue, and Indian School. ¿Y cuál otra calle, perdón?
La Osborne.
Osborne.
Uh-huh. Bueno, mi comentario es para apoyar los fondos para los oficiales de Phoenix.
My comment is in regards to supporting funds to the police.
La razón
Reason why
es porque en el área donde yo vivo desde hace más de 27 años,
in the area where I live, which has been more than 27 years,
el crimen nunca ha parado. Nada más lo han ido controlando.
The crime has never stopped. It's only been under control.
Entonces, si no hay policías, entonces ¿quién nos va a cuidar?
So if we don't have police officers out there, then who's going to take care of us?
Y áreas específicas donde más crimen hay en el Distrito 4 son área 51, Avenida 51 y McDowell.
And the areas of the of District 4 where we see more activity is around 51st Avenue,
43 Avenida y Thomas,
43rd Avenue and Thomas,
27 Avenida Indian School,
27th Avenue and Indian School,
27 Avenida y Van Buren.
27th Avenue and Van Buren.
Creo que son una de las esquinas más difíciles.
I think those are some of the areas we see that are more difficult.
Así que sí necesitamos más oficiales, más 911, porque no están alzando los teléfonos tampoco. Más
And we also need
traductores.
more representatives in the 911 area because they're not answering, and we need more interpreters.
Porque las personas cuando están hablando ahorita 911 no están alzando el teléfono porque no hay suficientes empleados.
And when we call 911, the representatives are not answering right away because there's not enough of them.
Pero sí me gustaría hacer otro comentario rapidito.
But I would also like to make a quick comment.
Me gustaría que también la ciudad de Phoenix, a todos los miembros de la ciudad, incluyendo al director Ed,
I would like for all the members of the city of Phoenix, including the city member X,
al director,
the director,
para que cambien un poquito el sistema de la policía de Phoenix, porque los están arriesgando a ellos y nos están arriesgando a nosotros.
Of the city of Phoenix police department because they're putting them at risk and us.
No han cambiado el sistema desde hace muchos años y ya el pueblo
They
les ha
haven't
dicho
changed
y
the
parece
system
que no
for a
quieren
long
hacer
time,
caso.
and the public has been telling them, and it seems like they're ignoring it.
Así que es todo lo que tenía que comentar y espero
And that
que
was all that I had to
escuchen al pueblo.
say, and I hope that you listen to the people.
Our next speaker is Rebecca Dennis. Rebecca, are you on the line?
I'm on the line. I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Hi. So I live in District 7 in the Roosevelt Historic District, right across from the Willow Historic District. Unfortunately, my council member isn't hosting a budget hearing, so this is the nearest to me. I've listened for the last hour and a half for people calling in saying they want safer streets in their community. They want more arts. They want better health care. They want better social services. They want to make sure that our city is considering climate change and the fact that we live in the desert. They want better public transportation, parks, housing. All of these things do not fall under the current public safety budget, and they definitely don't fall under police. Right now, in the $1.4 billion general fund budget that we have, that represents 27 departments of the city of Phoenix, the police are $726,902,813. That is about half of the budget. So we have 14,000 city employees in the city of Phoenix. The police, from what I could see, have about 2,000 patrolling officers and maybe anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 employees in total. So that's about 28% of staff. If we're talking about creating a new crisis response program, we should absolutely be defunding the police, especially when in 2020, 350,000 of the service calls that Phoenix PD received were nonviolent calls. That's more than 3 times the amount of violent calls that they received. I don't understand why we keep having this conversation around like defunding the police as though there is any other department that we could be defunding in order to fund the much needed social services and resources we need in our city and our community. The next best funded thing is the fire department. I just would really like you guys to consider and think about what our budget is.
Please complete your comment. Thank you. Our next speaker, I believe, Erica Gagnon, was able to connect on the line. Erica, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I live in the Willow Historic District. My husband and I have lived here for 4 years now, and we love the sense of community here. And I'm calling because I strongly support the planned improvements for 3rd and 5th Avenue through Willow. And I would like to request you to fund the project. However, I do have 2 comments that I would like to make about it. First, the 5th Avenue street project for the Roosevelt District is complete, and now we are seeing how traffic is flowing south on 5th Avenue at McDowell. I'd like to point out that on a daily basis, I see cars that are either running or they're either turning right or left onto 5th Avenue from McDowell. They miss their designated lane and they turn into the bike lane. The cars often continue to travel down the lane for blocks, and they're oblivious of the green bike markings on the street. I would ask the city to consider installation of a bright colored barrier that can be easily negotiated around by a bicyclist, but not by a car at the entrance of the bike lane to more strongly discourage vehicle traffic from entering, particularly at McDowell. And then second, wrong way driving has continued on 5th Avenue south of McDowell. And I would ask the city, when they're considering a design through Willow, to incorporate, and for Roosevelt too, district, to incorporate more signage to indicate wrong way, as well as more frequent arrows on the pavement for drivers already traveling in the wrong direction. Because the one-way, little black and white one-way signs that are facing east and west are not sufficient for drivers, and they're often missed. But overall, I strongly support the planned improvements, and I hope that you will fund them. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Daisy Hernandez. Daisy, are you on the line?
Good evening, council members. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Please allow me to briefly introduce myself. My name is Daisy Hernandez. I'm an Arizona resident who also works for the county and has earned a bachelor's degree in public service and public policy. However, today I speak with you as a citizen, but I can't help but to simultaneously speak through the lens of a fellow public servant. And through speaking with my fellow community members through my nonprofit work, I can tell you that the people are growing tired of not seeing our tax dollars being efficiently used. We cannot continue to fund the mundane, outdated system we call Phoenix PD. With my nonprofit team, I sought out recommendations that community members have for our city. One gentleman shared, "How is it that the police drive brand new cars? How can they afford that when my neighborhood needs X, Y, and Z?" I hope you don't mind me sharing that anecdote with you, but I think the city of Phoenix has well enough communicated to the Phoenix residents where the city's priorities are at. The residents in Phoenix are frustrated, and my experience shows that they have legitimate concerns about the current negotiations going on in our city. I would have loved to elaborate had time permitted, though we as a city need to stop these haphazard policy agendas. We don't need a crime suppression squad. We don't need our COVID relief money to go to the police instead of to community members who are in legitimate dire need. Council members, we can do better. And stated frankly, you need to reject this budget until the entire negotiating process for the MOU becomes entirely public. How can we expect you to be uplifting the community's voice in processes that occur behind closed doors when these processes very well can have more community comment and engagement? Their secretive nature you continue to enable. We both know there are a lot of moving parts at play here, and we both know that you are very well capable of producing profound change. We're here to raise the community's voice and take the community's voice back to our jobs and back to the systems only you and I have been thoroughly trained to understand. Council members, I respectfully but firmly ask you to take some time to envision solutions no one has ever taken the time to envision yet before. We are here to serve the public, but we are also here to innovate tactical, comprehensive solutions in order to ensure that our community members succeed.
Our next speaker is Kelly Crock. Kelly, are you on the line?
Hello.
Please proceed.
I am against the 75 new civilian positions for Phoenix Police. PPD says it's necessary to increase transparency, but every attempt by police to increase transparency and training has failed. We need access to public records from police, but continuing to add more people to a rotten system isn't going to fix anything. Police records need to be handled by the city clerk's office. Phoenix Police wants to hire more people to do less work instead of cutting vacant positions and placing those funds where we need them. It's not okay. Legalizing marijuana should result in thousands fewer arrests per year by PPD, and the creation of the crisis response unit will significantly decrease the number of calls the police department needs to respond to. Those positions must go to programs and resources community members need. We demand $15 million from police to pay for new crisis response program. We demand to move $10 million from Phoenix Police Crime Suspension Squad. We demand COVID relief for the people, not police. We're demanding funding for free transportation and bus-only lanes, rehabilitation services and a center in West Phoenix, and low barrier shelter and housing support. We reject this budget, ask you to reject this budget until the process for MOU negotiations becomes fully public.
Our next speaker is Elizabeth Venable. Elizabeth, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Okay, I apologize for any ancillary noise. I wanted to say that if you fund things like housing and address social determinants of health and other issues, crime rates tend to go down. Crime is very much tied to economics and lack of resources. Crime is very often not mitigated by police action, and we can see recidivism as a result of this. What does mitigate crime is investing in programs in housing, especially housing. People in these meetings are very concerned with fences and gates to keep out people. But if we were truly funding housing, we wouldn't have to have fences and gates to keep out people. We would simply have houses to live next to them in. And finally, I wanted to say that the money absolutely has to come from the police budget in the future. And the housing budget allocations tend to be very, very small from the general fund. I find that almost always it's being redirected federal funding, which is often dwarfed by federal funding on the police from the same sources, such as the CARES Act. If I were to give a rational estimate based on numbers and a projected increase in houselessness, I would suggest that you invest between $100 and $120 million in housing. That would help mitigate a lot of other costs to the city. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Pamela Tracy. Pamela, are you on the line? Pamela? Pamela?
I'm here. Sorry, I was on mute.
That's all right. Please proceed.
Hello,
Pamela?
thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am a resident of Lavina in District 8, and I'm calling in support of the park at 55th Avenue and Samantha Way in this budget. I've lived facing this empty lot for 14 years. I bought my house and had it built in 2007, and it's time to make this lot a beautiful park for residents of the living community to enjoy. We have a beautiful community out here with views of the mountains, and this park is an eyesore, bringing our property values down. 14 years is a long time to see an empty lot full of weeds, and it's even harder to patiently wait by for green space while the area around your home is booming with development. Please include this park at 55th Avenue and Samantha Way in this budget for construction and maintenance. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Veronica Baca. Veronica, are you on the line?
I am. I'm a resident of District 8, and I'm a resident of Lavina, and I am in support of building the park on Samantha and 55th Avenue. The closest park is 3 miles away, so I'm asking that you please add $156,000 to get this park built and maintained for us. Our children need a place to go, somewhere safe that we can walk to and get some exercise. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ginger Sykes Torres. Ginger, are you on the line?
I'm here. Yes.
Please proceed.
Hi, everyone. So my daughter really wanted to call in for the youth meeting, and she had it later tonight, so I told her she could call in now. So introducing my daughter, Shakaya.
Hello, my name is Shakaya. I am 8 years old. I support funding for the arts and culture because I'm a ballerina and Native American hoop dancer. I also think we need more trees and cool quarters because the climate is getting warmer, and we live in a city that is super hot. We need something to do about it, and this is why. I have a little dog named Pinion. When we take walks, I don't want her feet to get hot, and I don't want her to get sick from being too hot. I also don't want this happening to my friends. Please support funding for programs that will help our environment, climate, and heat in Phoenix. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really proud of you. You're a confident, strong woman. So look to see you in the future running for office. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next speaker is Kenneth Logan. Kenneth, are you on the line?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Please proceed. If you could speak up a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, my name is Ken Logan. I live at US Vets, and I am a Vietnam vet. I was in, and I'm here to support or ask that you support affordable housing. And I would just kind of like to share a success story with you because of US Vets. Last about 8 months ago, I lost my housing because of drugs and alcohol, and bad decisions. Today, I am 7 months clean and sober. I have completed a 90-day treatment program. I've completed all the state requirements. I'm taking care of my health. I'm working out again, and I am becoming eligible for HUD-VASH housing. And I have since paid off all my bills. My car is in good shape. It's insured. It's registered. My blood pressure is dropped. I have a credit score of 767, and I've paid off my credit cards. And I have had an opportunity to address my PTSD issue since I've been here at US Vets. And I would just like to ask if the city can fund a full-time position for veterans so that we can get the help we need and get in a position to where we can move on with our lives. And I would just like to say hello, Councilwoman Pastor. I forgot, I'm a little nervous, but I just wanted to present the case that through US Vets and the opportunity to have affordable housing, I can get my life back, and I'm doing good. I've even reestablished a relationship with my daughter and my grandkids. So my life is good, and that was made possible through the US Vets. Okay, I'm done.
Are you sure? You're the last one, I believe.
Well, you know what? It's just that, yeah, I know I could go on.
All right. Well, what I want to say is congratulations on your success of your 7-month sobriety. Congratulations in reuniting with your family, and continue to wish you much success. And US Vets has taken a part in your life, so continue on with what you're doing. It's making an impact in you, and heard you loud and clear about the need for someone to help our veterans within our city. So thank you.
And I've checked with our IT staff. That was the last public comment for this evening.
Thanks, I want to thank everyone for coming out. We'll make sure your feedback gets into the minutes for this meeting and transmitted to the council. And I'll ask Councilwoman Pastor if she wants to close with any parting words.
So I really appreciate everybody doing this virtual meeting. It is a little different than what I'm used to. I'm used to being out in the public and sitting and chit-chatting. So it's a little different. I do want to say that I am an advocate for all the items that we have spoken about, but in particular, 3rd and 5th Avenue, all the way from not only Roosevelt, but all the way to Missouri. All those neighborhoods have come together and have figured out the bike path, especially on 3rd Avenue. And so I will be advocating for that with my colleagues. And it has been going little by little in phases. Sometimes we just have to, I'm glad you came out, and every year we just have to keep moving and moving the ball forward, every yard, and then we get there. And then it's a touchdown. And so we will get there. I just wanted to, we have to keep the faith and continue the progress. I just also want to say that we had a very diverse, different asks all over the place, and I appreciate not only District 4 coming out, but other districts coming out to advocate for their area. If anyone miss something, you can always email me and I'll make sure it gets recorded. I have some, what we call them, e-comments, and one of the or several of the pages of the e-comments, but I'm assuming they were not able to get on the phone, so they made the e-comments, is that more money for small businesses, the Hub and Phoenix Biz Connect platform. With more than 400 businesses using the platform in the first month, with an expected growth of 1,000 businesses by year end, it would be a shame to not renew this incredible community resource and further investment in the success of our local business. So I just want to put that on record, because that one talks about it throughout these e-comments. So I'm going to put it on record, and really like to thank everybody. Have a good night, and go enjoy your family, enjoy a walk, enjoy your dog, whatever you like to do. But just enjoy your evening. We're alive, we're breathing, and keep moving. Thank you.
Also,